Hey guys, today we're showing you how to grease the final gear case on your Yamaha PW50. It's going to be the same process for any of these bikes, and it's actually pretty simple to do. It should be done every 2 years, and it's often overlooked. So with this being so simple, you might as well get in there, get this thing serviced, and that way you don't have problems down the road. So let's go ahead and get started. To get this job done, we have some pliers, 8, 10, 12, and 19mm sockets. I've got a number 3 Phillips. And as far as parts go, all you need is some grease and an O-ring. Now with the grease, they recommend a lithium soap-based grease. Now this Maxima stuff, it's a lithium complex grease, which is gonna work just fine. So that's what we're going with. And I'm probably gonna use, maybe even a quarter of this tub. We're gonna grease that up. I'd rather have more grease in there than too little. And other than that, you're going to want to have some rags. First, we've got 2 bolts holding the seat on. We'll remove all of that. After that, we've got our silencer. So we've got the hose clamp and a bolt right here. For the axle nut, we have a 19mm socket. I'm going to hold the brake while I loosen that up. Then 12mm socket, we're going to remove the lower shock mounting bolt. And then to remove the bracket, we've got 2 nuts we need to remove. After that, we're going to remove the exhaust pipe. So we have 1 bolt in the back and then 2 up front. And then we can remove the bracket and the wheel. Now, if the wheel is kind of hung up, you might have to loosen up the rear brake adjuster, but it should pull right off. Now on this brake side, I've got a washer that I need to pull off. And for the cover, we've got 3 screws to remove. So these covers, they can be stuck on. And if they are, there's usually a little bit of material right there you can use to get a punch or something like that and tap that off. Now before I pull the axle out, one thing I want to do is check both of these bearings that are inside of here. And how we're going to do that is, number 1, we're going to pull the axle in this direction just so we don't confuse any side-to-side play with up and down play. But we're going to try to rock this axle up and down. And if it moves up and down, if you feel play in those bearings, you want to get them replaced. But ours are feeling good, so I'm going to push on the axle. It should slide right out. We've got our ring gear right here. And we're going to wipe all this old grease up and obviously put some fresh stuff on. But when you do that, you want to inspect the gears for any obvious signs of damage, whether they're chipped or pitted. And if they are, you want to get any of this stuff replaced. While we're in here, we're going to grease these axle bearings as well. You just have a cover right here. We'll remove both of these bolts. And these bearings are not in there very tight at all. I'm just going to pull it out with my finger. Now that we're pretty cleaned up, what I'm going to do is check the bearings for this pinion gear. So I'm just going to hold on to that, try to move that up and down. If there's any play, you need to get in there and get those bearings replaced. But we're looking pretty good, so I'm just going to do some final cleaning. And for these bearings, this grease really isn't looking that bad, but what you can do is get some solvent, get that old grease out of there, and then we're going to put some fresh grease on them. Now I'm going to reinstall the outer bearing on the brake side, make sure the sealed side is facing out. Then we can install the collar and that inner bearing. After that, you want to grease up the pinion and ring gears and just apply a little bit of extra grease around to make sure you have plenty in there. There's also a little cutout by that pinion gear. Make sure there's plenty of grease packed in there. Now that we have that done, we're putting a new O-ring on our cover and we can install it. Now that we have the final drive cover on, we can reassemble the bike. Make sure you put the washer on before you install the wheel. Next, I'm going to install the swing arm bracket and attach the rear shock. Next, you want to check your brake adjustment and make sure you don't have any drag on the wheel. And then you can go ahead and hold the brake and torque your axle to 43 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the exhaust and put the seat back on. And that's it for greasing the final gear case on your Yamaha PW50. If you need any parts for your bike, you can click the link in the description below. If you want to see more helpful content like this, then subscribe to our channel. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.